had a chance to look over the Dr. Strangelove posts. A lot of them were very good, and you made some interesting points. I reacted to a bunch of them, but I just kind of wanted to kind of expand on some of my reactions and give you some things to think about as we wrap up this last official discussion for Comm150. Remember, Goodfellas this week is extra credit, so that's optional. So this will be the last for-credit discussion. A couple of you, Megan and Jill specifically, made a great observation and picked up on Kubrick's explanation for where this desire for war and aggression comes from. Some people had said, well, it's because of the communist threat, and I don't. That's really, in my opinion, not true at all. I think that Kubrick would say if communism wasn't a threat, they would find something else, some other threat to try to justify war. The desire for war, as Jill and Megan pointed out in the film, really comes from this almost like a lack of being insecure in their masculinity. It's tied to sexual prowess, which is, I think, where that whole dialogue about bodily fluids comes from. So makes drive, it's almost like this need to assert one's manhood is inherently what makes man violent and aggressive in Kubrick's point of view in this film. So very interesting and good observations there. George made a really poignant observation and talked about Strangelove and his plan, and kind of echoing Nazi ideals. In the end of the film, Strangelove really kind of presents this plan of living underground and forming what in his mind is this utopian society where the women would outnumber the men, and it would be this, again, asserting of one's sexual prowess, that this would be this utopian society of all of the hand-picked chosen ones that were going to live underground as they wait out the nuclear winter. I think what Kubrick's trying to say is that in the quest for to be the ultimate superpower, Strangelove represents going down the road of the idealism that we just fought against in World War II, and that we're compromising our own ideals just to assert dominance. That's a take on it. So feel free to continue to explore those ideas and other ideas about what Strangelove represents. And then finally, Rob made a really good point and talked about the evolution of the military-industrial complex. He equated, saying that unmanned drones were the next step. And I think we had talked in class in the pre-film lecture about when there's an election cycle, which we're entering into now. We constantly, the debate centers around re-examining some of these ideas, and I wonder what Kubrick would say, and Eisenhower too, for that matter. Remember, we talked about Eisenhower's warning about the military-industrial complex. This again is becoming an issue. So this is an old film about the arms buildup, but it centers around a debate that we're still having now. That being that the production of military arms and equipment have become so intertwined with our economy and our way of life. So that's really, I think, what the inspiration for Kubrick for making the film was, and a concept that you can continue to explore as we conclude this discussion this week. I'll be checking in with you again later in the week as we wrap up Comm150. If you have any questions about the paper, please use the discussion forum, and I'll be there for guidance with that as well. And again, I'll be checking in with you as we get into the paper and as we wrap up the extra credits and we wrap up this discussion on Dr. Strangelove.